Right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content on info@millenniumnews24.com. Download the Millennium News 24 app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Stay tuned with Millennium TV and Millennium News 24 for the latest updates.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Jineea Butler, and I'm glad that you're with us today on the group here on Millennium News 24. How was your week? How was your weekend? I'm so happy to see you. I missed you. Did you miss me? Around the world, let's check in. Where are you checking in from? We have a great show for you today on the group here with Millennium News 24. Now, before we get started today, welcome to On the Group. I want to begin by dedicating this episode to a man who played a foundational role in my journey and in Black media. This show is dedicated to Thomas Watkins, the owner and publisher of the Challenge Publish Group, who passed away 2 Sundays ago. Rest in peace to Tommy Watkins, most know him by. Thomas Watkins was more than a publisher. He was a gate opener, second generational publisher for the Challenge Publisher Group. He believed in independent Black voices when believing came with risk. He gave me the opportunity to serve as editor of the New American, which created this great New American enterprise. So thank you, Mr. Watkins. And that is where the name, the vision, and ultimately the New American Enterprises were born. Without that trust, without that platform, there is no New American perspective and no New American ecosystem and no urban reset. Rest in peace, Thomas Watkins. Thomas understood the power of ownership in media, which we have here at Millennium News. He believed our stories deserve structure, discipline, and credibility, not just passion. He didn't just publish headlines, he published people. I remember when I lived in Harlem, there was a little newspaper, the Daily Challenge, that I would go and read it, and it really got me into what I'm doing right now. And little did I know that I would meet the man behind that newspaper, behind that publisher source, and I did, and I got to spend years on end with him and spend quality time with him. And I really just want to take this moment, and if you know him, give him the shout. So today, we honor Thomas Watkins. We honor his work. We honor his belief in Black-led media. And we thank him for planting the seed that grew far behind the page. May he rest in power. Yes. Now, continuing the spirit and legacy of cultural impact, I'm honored to talk about today's guest. Today we have a guest. Her name is Jineea Tarantino. She's out of Kansas City. She's the founder and CEO of Tarantino 1440 Entertainment. She's a woman who built her career behind the scenes, making artists thrive, not just survive. Jineea will be on with us really soon. But before we get there, we got to talk about our President Trump and his overnight New Year's surprise of bringing Maduro into capture. Okay. And he is now being taken. He's in Brooklyn at the federal detention center in Brooklyn, which used to be a young people's facility. Go figure. So Maduro is being held. They said he came in Nike Techs. President Trump went in the middle of the night. Pete Hegseth did a 6-month surveillance on him, and this whole thing they've been planning for 6 months and told no one, and went into Venezuela and took Maduro and his wife hostage and brought them to the United States. Yes, there's Mr. Tommy Watkins right there. Mr. Watkins. So brought him into the United States. President Trump did. And here we are. And so now here's the problem right now is that we got people dancing around in Venezuela. Now in Venezuela, they're saying, oh my God, thank you, President Trump. People in the streets, you got the Venezuelan President Trump out there. He's doing his thing, he's doing his dance. And then here, the Democratic liberals here are saying, oh my God, you can't go do that. You can't go take a president hostage. And then you think about arresting President Trump and the fact that President Trump was arrested. So we have problems. So we have infighting within America. So President Trump said he was going out there to free him. They said, well, what about the oil tanks? He said, well, we got the oil tanks and we're going to keep that oil too. We're going to go ahead and keep that. Now, I would say, I would ask President Trump, if he keeps the oil, give the oil to the Venezuelans, right? The price to the Venezuelans so they can get their money too. But President Trump said we seized them tankers. Now American oil companies are coming in and they're going to do whatever with this oil that I guess it didn't cost us anything to get. So now Maduro, he was up for today. Him and his wife pled not guilty today in federal court. And they said, Maduro said, I'm the president of Venezuela. They said, who are you, sir? He said, I'm the president of Venezuela. The judge said, no. I just want to know your name. And he said, I don't know why I'm here. I'm innocent. I'm a really good man. He's going down. And his wife pled not guilty to any war crimes and the things the indictment. Marco Rubio said Americans need to read this indictment. Okay, so that's what I want us to do, people. Let's read the indictment. And then but some of the stuff that he was doing, Maduro, he didn't want to leave office, so he got voted out of office, right? Just like they were trying to say President Trump was trying to stay in office. Maduro got voted out of office, and then now they're saying that that he wouldn't leave, and so that somebody else was supposed to take office. He said, hell no, I'm not going. And so you see all these videos of him, tell him to come get me. Tell him to come get me. You're going to have to get me, and all this other stuff. And they went and got him while he was sleeping, him and his wife. And now they're in New York, and now he's an innocent and a good man. So we're going to see how that turns out. Hopefully, nobody loses their life and there's no more war, and we could just come together in peace, and that this was a good move. But what do you guys think about Pete Hegseth? Do you think that Pete Hegseth is making the right moves here? Do you think Donald Trump is listening to the right people? Are they going to tow Donald Trump in for war crimes for going to pick up a president of another country? Who knows? Okay, I don't know, but who knows? I'm a little worried on how that's going to work out, but no fear, America is here. So what else is happening before our guest comes on today? Everything got crowded up. On Christmas Day, President Trump bombed Nigeria. Okay, so he's on a roll, and they said that he bombed the most countries in 1 year. Now, this is a president that said that he's war no more. And I think that he bombed 9 countries in a year. So that's the most of any president in 1 year. Now, he's on a roll. Now, he knows that. Now, I think that we're getting the accelerated Trump now, because Trump knows he only has 4 years. Most people have 8 consecutive years. He had his first 4, which was his learning curve. Then he had his next 4, which they tried to put him in jail. And now he's got these last 4, which he's now trying to use and put America in different positions. What do you think about it? What do you think about it around the world? Is he putting America in the right position? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know, these big international territories. I'm learning them a lot better, and we all need to learn them a lot better. But there's a lot of stuff going on internationally, and President Trump, it seemed like he's trying to get his weight up, and he's trying to do his thing, okay, to the 10th power thing. So who knows? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trust my president today and every day that he's going to keep me safe. Now, everybody else might not be as safe, okay? But I don't know, if there's war and everybody's got soldiers, whose responsibility is it? I'm not sure, but I know that I want my president to keep me safe. Now, in other news, we know that Mayor Zohran Mamdani has become the new mayor of New York City. I believe it's like the 103rd mayor. I'm going to check that out when we go to a break. But I think he's the 103rd mayor of New York City, and he has been sworn in, and he's been active ever since. But here's my here's my problem with this, okay? My problem is that Zohran Mamdani is trying to use the hip hop community. Now, I'll credit myself. I credit myself all the time, but I'll credit myself in pushing the hip hop needle forward in New York and people picking up. Now, even the socialist community picking up. Now, this is where the buck stops here, because we did not have anybody. If you try to use, excuse me, if you try to use the Jewish community for anything, they're coming for you. Oh no, what are you using us for? What are you saying? You saying something bad? Well, here on the New American, here on the group, we're going to be the ones that are saying stuff. Now, Zohran is trying to use the hip hop community to push the Democratic Socialists of America. It's not just that he is hip hop. Yes, he's hip hop. He's done all this stuff and everything like that. But him using Jadakiss, J Tudor, and then he's at 1520 Cedric Avenue, at the birthplace of hip hop, talking about he's saving. This is all Jineea's stuff mixed over as Democratic Socialists. And again, they think that we're stupid. And because they think that we're stupid, good people, we're going to take a break. But they think that we're stupid. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with Gina Tarantino, and we're going to talk about this here on the group and your New American Perspective here on Mondays Live at 1 p.m. Be right back.
Hello.
There's my girl.
How are you, Jen? I was about to ask the same.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the lovely Gina Tarantino. Miss Tarantino, I gave you a little of a intro a little earlier, and let me just say it again. Miss Tarantino is the founder and CEO of Tarantino 1440 Entertainment, a woman who has built her career behind the scenes, making sure big time artists thrive and not just survive. Welcome, Miss Tarantino.
Jineea, I love you. You're amazing. You're doing big things, and I'm so happy that you're having me.
Well, you are my first guest of the new year. So welcome to the New American Perspective, the G-Check, and on the group family here on Millennium News 24. I'm so glad that you joined us. But let's just jump right in. Let's talk about it. So tell me a little bit. Let me give you my stuff, what I have on you, and then you can elaborate, because Gina is a music executive, artist manager, curator, and former actress, the still actress, I don't want to say former, whose career
Hey.
spans whose
Just a
career
little high.
spans in theater, film, radio, and music. She currently manages Phantom of the Beat, a two-time Grammy-nominated double platinum producer and one half of the group, the UMCs, whose music you hear on our opening commercial. Na 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 na. Through Tarantino 1440 Entertainment, she specializes in artist management, development, show promotion, event curation, and distribution, with a focus on long-term stability in the music business. Did I hit it, miss, or what?
Oh, I think you did your research. It's a good one. I'm going to have to cut my bio down a little bit. That's a mouthful. Sorry to keep you.
Tell me more though. So I said the basics,
Okay.
but give us the real.
Okay, so the real is a long time. How far back do you want me to go?
Go, let's go. We got time, girl. We got time today.
Yeah, so a long time ago, I was an actress on and off Broadway and loved it. Lived in New York for 10 years. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. I still, I'm between two cities. So I come here and then I'm in New York half the year, usually as well.
Okay.
So, I had my son. I took a little hiatus from acting and everything. I became a sports reporter when my son was a baby, and I was on a show called Real Fan Radio. So I covered the Kansas City Chiefs for a magazine show on sports radio in Kansas City. And that was fun, locker room chat and all of that. And then I went on to work and produce music videos. So I produced a music video for A New Sun, who is partners with Robert Glasper. So it was one of his first music videos that my girl Fiona Bloom hooked me up with. And she is one of my best friends. And it's good to have friends in this.
Yes.
It's really good to have friends because the doors have opened tremendously. And I was at a point where I was, I love live music. That's my space. Performance is my space. So I started doing shows locally. My father was a drummer and he played instruments and was a jazz musician. And so I grew up around a lot of jazz, soul, funk, disco, some rock with my mom, and music has always been my first love, but I was just a better actress. So I couldn't, as far as performing that, I could sing, but I sell a song more than I sing. So anyway, the performance space, I've been to thousands of concerts over my life. It always inspired me. So that's how I began, was throwing shows. Got some opportunities on 18th and Vine, which is the jazz district here in Kansas City. Then went on to do larger shows. I partner with Open Gym, which is a open mic platform, but also we do other shows, and on their away shows and tours, I help coordinate and work on that as well. So we just did a show in New York. We're going to get back a residency. We had a residency at New Blue in the Lower East Side for a while, and which was a legendary jazz spot in New York. And then we just recently did Secret Pour, a pop-up open mic, and then at Hannibal Burris's spot, which used to be the Knitting Factory. And it's called Isola. So we have a few of those things going on. And then met Phantom of the Beat about 3 years ago at a music conference where I met you.
Yes.
At Rob Schwartz Music Conference.
Shout out Rob Schwartz. Mag.
Love him. So we started our partnership on many levels. So we have now launched ELP, which is a label venture between him and I and another partner, Malika Noor. And we have just released our first single and we will be doing way more of that. And we have a partnership with KMG Distribution and Royalty Network Entertainment Publishing. So, and then I have my Tarantino 1440. So his Phantom of the Beat, Phantom Wreck Music, and Tarantino 1440 merged together to build
Ah,
this little.
nice.
Yes.
So the
That's a
people,
mouthful, too.
so with him, you're selling tracks, you're selling big tracks. Tell us about some of the platinum tracks that he has out right now.
Well, I mean, if you do your history or if you know Phantom, he also goes by Haas G, which was his performance name with one half of the UMCs. So, One to Grow On, Blue Cheese, and the whole album.
I was there.
Yeah, it's great. And then then he went on to produce once the group had, separated for a while. He went on to produce under the moniker Phantom of the Beat, to have a separate entity from Haas G. And he went on to produce Magic Stick, Apollo Kids. He produced for Busta Rhymes, for Capadonna recently, New York to Baltimore track.
So he was featured on the New Year's with 50 Cent.
Oh, yes.
Right?
And that's coming to the Syncs. So Syncs are phenomenal. And for any artist looking for the most bang for their buck and not waiting for streams, find yourself a good publisher or come talk to us. He just got Dexter this year with one of the UMC tracks. So that was a big one. Ghost for Apollo Kids, and did the it was
a commercial.
New Balance and Thrasher magazine. So you can find it on YouTube, but it's a skater profile highlight.
Yeah,
real. So that was pretty dope. And then the latest one to start 2026 is the New Year's Rockin' Eve, the Dick Clark and 50 Cent perform Magic Stick on there. So it was a beautiful night.
That is amazing. Shout out to Phantom of the Beat. And so you were also featured on in Tony and Tina's wedding. That is huge here in the New York City area where we loved it. And I swear that I seen her. I actually went to see Tony and Tina's wedding, and it's an interactive play that was on Broadway and traveled and things of that nature. And I went and I was drinking with somebody at the wedding, and I swear it was this young lady right here. So she is
I'm sure. So like I had a voice that was like a mixture between Edith Bunker and Fran Drescher. So like I would sit there and drink with the audience. No, it was a really but if that was you, if that's what you heard, that was me.
And, that was it. That was it, people. I met her before I met her.
So I was in the show in Kansas City when I was still taking college courses, and I dropped out of college because that's what I was going to school for in theater performance, and hightailed it to New York when the understudy broke her leg. And they liked me and pulled me out of the tour and brought me up there. So I did the show for 4 years and traveled to Japan with them twice.
Wow.
And that was such an honor, and it was beautiful. And hopefully we're going to be stepping foot on Japan with some soil with some of our artists. And hopefully we'll get that going, and I'll have updates later in the year for you with that.
So you have worn many, many hats: actress, publicist, radio personality, manager. And
Yes.
So how did all of that shape how you advocate for artists today? Because you're a big advocate. You're talking about, I'm going to open up the nonprofit so they can get their stuff going. Tell us how that, all of you being all of that, shaped how you represent your artists.
So at a certain point of time, I knew what I wanted to do my whole life, and I think a lot of artists do. and I had these French doors in my bedroom and tap shoes, and I would put on shows and make my parents just sit there and watch, and their friends, and I tortured them. But it was my training ground. And then when I went to school for it, no one in my family outside of my dad really was in the arts at all. So there was really not a lot of guidance. And then I had a janky manager in New York that kept sending me out to crap things. Like I was going on auditions for that dating. Remember that dating show where they had
on the side of the
bubbles?
wall, right?
Yeah,
They
and they had
on one
bubbles,
side
and
of the
they would
wall.
really just make fun of each other.
Right.
Like it would pay $100. I'm like, whoa, why am I am low on the totem pole for this agency. I got to prove myself. So I ended up having to get my own auditions, you know, because she wasn't sending me to the right ones. And I felt like I was put on the back burner. And that happens a lot with musicians as well. And not knowing where to go, and the ever-changing climate, and streaming, and everything that is 1 month changes a little bit the next month. And it's hard to make money. A lot of artists give up before they figure out the formula and figure out the team. And they don't have most of its funds, you know, as most artists can attest to. It's having the money to travel when you get on a show that you're not getting paid for, but for exposure. It's having the money to go to the studio. It's finding and connecting with the right producers and the right you know, signing up, even, you know, making sure that you're with the sound exchange and all the things that you have to do on the business side that gets overseen just trying to chase clout, and they get lost in the sauce, and then they can't pay their rent, and then you know, so
really gone through
I
it.
feel for it because I went through it. You know, I feel for it because I went through it, but I went through it on a different level. You know, I was over and I was in on Broadway, and I don't know, I have a little lucky charm or something, because I couldn't find a job waiting tables in New York. And to supplement the acting, a friend of mine, and I was only 21, but a friend of mine who I lived with, we had 6, you know, the typical New York situation, living in a brownstone in Brooklyn with 6 people, and, you know, top of each other. So he needed an assistant in PR at Miramax Films. So I started off for 3 years there, and it taught me a lot. Although the way we attack PR is so much different than in the 90s, but the overall perspective is the same. You know, everything's just digital. But yeah, I love helping artists. I love seeing somebody win. I love walking with them up the ladder, so and sending them on their way. It gives me great sense of pride to be able to be a part of the journey.
Awesome. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to come right back here on the group with Jineea Tarantino, and we're going to find out what she thinks about President Trump and his current actions, presidential actions. So we'll be right back on the group with Jineea Tarantino here on Millennium News 24.
Hi.
Are back.
We are back
on the group. Hold on, sorry. We are back here on the group with our guest, Jineea Tarantino from ELP, formerly Tarantino 1440.
Oh, they're the same. Just to let you know.
Okay.
It's just merged. I'll have to
merged.
merged.
So we are talking about Jinea's illustrious career in music as an actress and entertainment, but you know, there's a big political stuff going on right now. And so before we get into the bombing in Venezuela, you've been vocal about your disdain just for President Trump as a whole, but how he handled the Rob Reiner situation and the fact that Rob Reiner is this about policy or tone or leadership? How do you feel about President Trump? This is your perspective. Go.
My perspective on Trump. Um, a little bit of a megalomaniac. It's it feels like anyone who says grab him by the pussy, that goes back 2 elections ago, I can't get behind one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really kind of as simple as that. That's where the dislike and disdain for him is.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a difference between arrogance and or a healthy ego.
Mm-hmm.
And leadership, I feel like he's more of a dictator and a totalitarian than guiding our country in a way that's helpful. I'm just not a fan.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a lot of friends who do support Trump. To each his own. But yes, and but I am not among them. I just think that there's a lot of things that he gets away with. 34-time convicted felon in office, and there are people.
But that's legal. that is law, right? And I think that people just don't look at American law. You can be a murderer and become the president, and I think that we
But
need
you
to
can't
look at
vote.
the law. Right.
But you can't vote.
That's why I'm saying that. I think that we need to look at the law a lot better, because how did this loophole get in? And I guess it's trying to say that if the people, whatever the people want, whoever the people want to govern them, the people should be able to choose that person. Who knew that people would actually choose a person that has 34 felonies? I don't think that they meant that to really be in it. I think they were just.
I think there should be a caveat. It's a
We're
caveat.
being fair.
Not a criminal.
Right.
Not a criminal.
I have 34 felonies. I'm the president of the United States.
Yeah, I mean the whole Epstein files, the
Mhm.
fact during his first election, how the New York Times busted down all of the tax evasion and his multiple bankruptcies, which is, bankruptcies is okay. You have to have a fresh start, but when it's used as kind of like, I know this is a bizarre comparison, but as abortions for hoes, like as birth control is kind of like how the bankruptcies were for him.
Right.
I'm just, and let me just say, and taking away people's benefits, I think it just feels targeted. I don't know what he's doing, but I'm so glad that his son's going to get married in the wing that he's using taxpayer dollars to pay at the White House. I don't think I'm not going to get invited. You maybe. I'm not
Good one. Good perspective, miss. So
thank you.
Now, I also wanted to ask you about, how you feel about the current socialism state. Here in New York, we just got a new mayor, Mayor Zohan Mamdani, and he is a Democratic socialist. And he said, I was elected a Democratic socialist, and I am going to govern as a Democratic socialist. So do you know anything about socialism? What is your thoughts? What are your feelings on that?
I honestly don't have a problem with socialism at all. I wish medicals was provided for every American. I wish we were on a little bit more equal footing. I wish that it's almost a utopian socialism. It's how we're raised as children, to share your toy, be kind to your neighbor, open the door for strangers, treat your elderly. It's the Bible, do unto others, treat that's kind of my philosophy on religion as well, do
Interesting.
unto others.
Mhm.
So for me, in a nutshell,
Mhm.
socialism kind of follows some of those guidelines.
Mhm.
In New York, in a melting pot like New York, I'm in Kansas City, Missouri.
Mhm.
It's a growing city. We have 4 million people in our metropolitan area, but it's nothing like being on the island of Manhattan with 8 million right there, right? So,
Mhm.
or whatever the
Sure.
number is. Um, I think it's going to be an interesting, um, I'm actually excited, but it's going to be an interesting test over the next few years. Because as you and I spoke about, I do not like Giuliani, but he cleaned up New York City. The city's
Right.
getting dangerous again. What is Mondami going to do about it? You know,
Mhm.
what
Mhm.
the rents? I would love to be able to live in Tribeca again under $10,000, right? A month.
Now, I wonder how he's going to do that. Now, what he did do in his defense, what
Mhm.
he did do in his first executive orders, that he signed something saying that, the rent, that he's going to take the landlords to court. So when you dial 311, that you'll get somebody and you'll have your day in court with it instead of sweeping everything under the table. And then if there's a problem, he's going to lay down the smackdown on the landlords. And so I'm happy. Now, how you're going to get these landlords to reduce their rent is really interesting, because it's going to have something that happens that actually depreciates the value, right? And so that is the nervousness that I have about socialism, because everything that you said and this good stuff that about socialism, you could sell that part, right?
Mhm.
But now when you hear the part about socialists don't want anybody to own any private property. Okay, so now when, not that I own any private property
But
in
when
New
you
York,
do,
yeah, exactly, but I would like to be able to if I can, right?
yeah.
And so so when you start saying, oh no, we don't think people should own private property, the government should. Okay, now they went on Zorhan's wife because they're saying, oh, everything should be equal. Homegirl had on them $600 boots at the inauguration and the custom mohair fur at that inauguration. She was doing her thing. Now she wants to look nice in pictures and she wants to spend money like the rest of us capitalists. But your husband said no. Your husband said no, we shouldn't spend over what everybody else can spend. And so when you start looking at those natural things that people have, we
Mm.
naturally, I always say in the Black community, we always gravitate to gold and diamonds because we come from king and queens. And so this is, we come from a place that is rich in heritage when it comes to these things, which makes us capitalists, which makes us strong consumers. So now we have somebody coming in and saying, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, no, you cannot have private property. You cannot be a millionaire or a billionaire in New York in this socialist society. And so that's what some of the things that they are talking about that I get worried about myself, because I'm like, now wait a minute. Again, we're capitalists here in America. And then, they want to take my money. So now all this that I didn't work for, they want me to take my money and spread it out amongst everybody, and everybody didn't work for the money. It is not the American way. Now you look into these other countries where, that have adopted socialism, where socialism doesn't work, because really what's happening now is that they are actually, millionaires and billionaires are going to run away from this tax that they're trying to put on corporate tax. They're going to run away from it, take their corporations out of New York, because why would I stay in New York if I can go to a place like Delaware or a place like Las Vegas and get really good tax incentives Delaware has none. So now why would I keep my business in New York if I got to pay all that I'm paying, right? We want to live downtown, all that I'm paying. So now when you depreciate the value, and then what I'm nervous about is that we start looking for different ways to tax everyday people for money for the free buses, because somebody's got to pay the bus driver. The bus driver's not working for free. Nobody's working for free, but you want to offer all this free stuff. And I hope that he does help the community level up, because he's the mayor now. Okay,
Right.
He's the mayor. I think he's too young. I think he's in over his head. I think that we're going to run into a lot of things. I think that the other side is not going to let him govern and be the mayor and things of that nature. And one thing that I do not like to the 10th power is that he is trying to put his foot on hip hop's neck to get the hip hop community behind the Democratic Socialists of America, thinking that we are silly and we do not know it. And my problem is that they're using this to thinking that hip hop is not paying attention. He's running around playing hip hop music at the press conferences, like hardcore hip hop music, too hard to be national on TV with it, trying to act like, oh, we're young and I'm down with hip hop, and he's trying to intersect and get those intersections to hope that a Jada kiss. He says at the inauguration, oh, Jay to the ma, like he says, I'm outside. He didn't even say it right. And so he's trying to use hip hop for the Democratic Socialists of America. And I have a problem with that, because I have a problem with people trying to use our community to that level.
Right. Okay. No. It's the really great points. There are I just read a study. Sorry, can't cite it, but it was 1 in 22 people in New York City are millionaires. 1 in 22. Mm-hmm. That is more than the rest. That's huge, right? So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of pushback, and I don't know that. I'm more of a liberal Democrat, fiscal conservative. So I will vote for who's right. I would have voted for Mondami if I had lived in New York.
Okay.
Although some of the ideas are super lofty, but I feel like we need such a major change out there. Mm-hmm. The safety on subways, for the longest time, cops were taken off subway platforms. What happened? People were getting pushed, robbed, stolen from, stabbed at exorbitant numbers than prior, right? So the rents are out of control. Maybe he should take away. And why do we still have the tax on the travel toll tax to get into the inner boroughs? I don't know what that's called, but
the congestion taxes.
The congestion tax. If you want to use the congestion tax, maybe you offset some of the other programs, keep that to add to. I don't know, just an idea. But for the purpose of what it's used for, it just is breaking people. You have to schedule times of the week to go into the city. You have a job. Rents, pay should raise. There should be pay increases. I don't know what to do about the landlords. I'm not a landlord. Give me some property so I'll manage them. But I'm not that yet. So I'm not really sure with hip hop and Mondami. I believe he.
Hold on, Gina. We're gonna go to a break. Don't tell us yet.
Okay.
But we'll go to a break and we'll come right back with Gina's take on what Mondami should be doing with the hip hop community here on Millennium News 24. We'll be right back.
Hello viewers, you are watching Millennium News 24. America and global villages Saint America independence built by immigrants, manufacturers, roads, highways, educations, healthcare, IT, scientists, space, business development to all thousands of multimedia and all major social media platforms and news network in America. Millennium News 24, one of truthfully news networks in America and global news organizations. Please watch, follow and subscribe. We are in iOS and Android devices, Roku, Amazon, Apple devices, all smart TV, globally Horizon satellite, social media Millennium News 24, Millennium TV 24. Website www.millenniumnews24.com and www.millenniumtv24.com. Thank you.
And we are back here on, And we are back here on Millennium News 24 with my special guest today, Jineea Tarantino, expert extraordinaire. We're talking Mamdani, we're talking hip hop, we're talking a whole bunch here on the New American Perspective on your group on Monday's show with Miss Tarantino. So we were just talking about what your thoughts were on Mamdani and him, jumping out. Now, Eric Adams, and I blame this all on myself, Tina.
Okay.
Let me preface this a little bit. Let me go all the way back. Let me go back to 2009 when I started pushing around in the political community right here in New York City. So I went to Eric Adams. I say to Eric Adams, young Eric Adams, who was at the time the assemblyman in Brooklyn, okay, before he had got to Brooklyn Borough President, before he got to mayor. I said, you need to use the hip hop community because the hip hop community has the power to move it. He says, oh, no, I ain't gonna, they're negative and they really don't be doing. I said, it is bad on how. Hello?
Hi, we have a guest.
Hello?
Yes, I am Wissam Jindray.
Hello, Wissam.
Hi, are you supposed to be on
Yes.
the show?
Yes, no. Invite me.
Okay, such a pleasure.
Invite me.
Okay,
No,
so let me go
invited
on.
me. Oh,
So let's go on. And so as I was saying, as I was saying, as I was saying,
you got global
that
fans.
was a good ad. That was a good one. Because you both was like, oh my God, what we do?
I don't know, but hey, it just shows that you have global perspectives, not just New York.
Yes.
And I think it's beautiful. Wissam,
That was beautiful.
leave us some messages. Yeah.
Well, welcome. So anyway, so back in 2009, I went to Eric Adams. I said, listen, get involved. Oh, no. So hypocrite, because he told me straight up, oh, no, I'm not with the hip hop community. Fast forward him to mayor. Oh, I'm part of the hip hop community. I've been part of the hip hop community since I was young. I was down with the bebop and the hip hop. Okay, I got you. Okay, so I seen how they played. Hakeem Jeffries, another one.
Well, New York is hip hop, right?
Huh?
So you have to address it.
Oh, yeah, no, I introduced it. Yes, I introduced it. But the reason why I'm saying this is because I've been pushing the needle. Hakeem Jeffries, went to him, talked to him about hip hop. Then he jumps up, oh, I'm the hip hop congressman. None of them give me any credit that I even said anything or did anything to him. Shout out to Eric Adams, because he did give Ghostface his own day in New York, May 9th.
That's beautiful.
So he does have a day in New York. But after that, after he gave Ghost that day, he ran off and he was the hip hop mayor, and he's running around and he's at everybody's party. He's at the parties. He's at Nas. And this is what knocked him off, is when he gave Puffy that key to the city. He went upstairs to buy that damn apple, and he gave Puffy the key to the city up there thinking that he was slick. And then it went kaboom. And so now, when the rise of Mamdani happens, who was a former hip hop artist, inspiring artist himself,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he has songs out. You know, he has songs and demos and stuff when he was a rapper. So now that he's out and he's trying to now use it, then you look at the Kamala Harris trying to bring in Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B. And all of this is my theories, right? But you're using them wrong. So if you need to come to me to really find out how to do this. But the Democratic Socialists, I see what he's trying to do and to use the hip hop community and thinking that we're overlooking it. But my problem is you think that we're dumb. But go ahead, Gina.
Well, I mean, the beautiful thing is he's at least
He's
giving
34.
paying homage to hip hop.
Yes,
He's
yes.
trying to. So I do believe that, you know, he yeah, I did a quick search on him. Young
Mhm.
Cardamom was his name in his independent rap career, which is interesting. Okay. I mean, that a nod to his
He's
culture.
true.
Young
He's
Cardamom.
true hip hop. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. Hip hop is breaking all races, all religions, all around the world. But that doesn't give you the right to try to use it for a whole movement that has nothing that really sets us back. We don't need the group. We don't need to be the group that needs free stuff. We've been in America
Right.
long enough to where we're getting the things that
The
we need. Now
underprivileged,
we
the
gotta move our near.
underutilized. Right.
Yes, right. That underutilized piece. Don't tell us to sit back and then try to use our hip hop messages to get your democratic socialist messages out here saying that there should be no millionaires and billionaires. Don't be trying to slow up our kids, my man. You understand what I'm saying? Don't try to slow our move and our needle for your movement.
So, like, I mean, who's he messed with? Like RZA, I think I saw back him, and
They what he did, Jamal Bowman, again, somebody that came through me. Jamal Bowman used to be a principal of a high school, of a middle school in the Bronx. One of my friends know about my program. Yo, we doing some hip hop stuff over here. Jineea, come over here and everything. And this is when I was running for Congress. I tried to get Jamal Bowman as an educator on my panel. He came when we talked about congressional stuff and political. Jamal Bowman runs for Congress. He ends up pulling the fire alarm. Very elementary, sir. You pull the fire alarm and used to be a principal. So he got kicked out of Congress, but he is there with Mamdani, and he has been behind a lot of this movement. And so they took him to a Wu-Tang concert and tried to get a lot of footage. And then he tried to act like, you know, the Wu was backing him and stuff. But RZA told him, go ahead and take that down right quick.
oh,
yeah, so
okay.
he got that out there real quick. And again, this is all tactics of movements where you said, yeah, RZA backed them up. Yes, that's what they want you to think. And then when they tear the country up, they gonna blame it on hip hop. Not today,
Right.
boy.
Okay,
Not today. So
so
we've got about 5 to 8 more minutes, Gina. Let's talk more about what you're doing, what's coming up, what we can expect from you, what you need from our audiences. Give us your handles and all that good stuff.
Okay. So what's coming up is actively right now, we're trying to lock in a date at Lincoln Center for the Culture of Hip Hop, a Staten Island story. So to honor hip hop, give back to a nonprofit called Unstoppable Girls Foundation. So
Nice.
yes, it's in the tri-state area in New York, and it is a organization which I think you're familiar with, but they mentor young women from middle school that have been bullied all the way through graduation of college to finding a job. And they've been very successful. One 13-year-old a couple of years ago that's part of their program, was a DJ for the Nets basketball. So and a woman. So I'm all behind empowering women and their strengths, and that we could do whatever we need to do. So with hip hop, the Culture of Hip Hop, the Staten Island Story is a film that is streaming everywhere, and you can. It gives basically the rise and fall of artists in Staten Island and culture, dance, music fashion. So that's something we're looking forward to. We've got a few other things on the side I can't announce. We have a few artists that we're about to release and sign. If anyone's looking for beats or syncs from Phantom of the Beat, I got you. We got you. So and initially, and I am looking into right now starting a nonprofit for kind of to break off from Canada, to take a nip out of Canada and maybe a little bit of the socialist movement, but Canada pays for their citizens to be artists.
Wow.
And it's a grant, and you have to fill it out. So, and I'd like to start one in Missouri to start small and maybe go global. I mean, around the country, but to provide grants for
No,
artists.
don't take it back. Go global, girl. Go global.
Well, global not so much, but our country needs it. Like Canada has it, and they do well, and everybody's making money up there that get those grants.
Was Drake ever a part of it? Or
I don't
anything?
know. I don't know. I'd have to do. I did have to do some research. I think his career started acting, so
Okay, right.
Degrassi in the wheelchair. So
yeah.
But otherwise I'll be doing some shows with Open Gym, and ELP has a big launch coming soon. So we did a silent little one with the track Goblins. So look out for them with our artists Rich Maddock and Solo Papa. We have we did a soft launch with that. So my handles are Gina Tarantino on Instagram. That's my personal, but Tarantino 1440. Also empirical _ LP is the labels handle. And there you can find any questions you need about distribution, publishing, production, and shows. Hit me up.
Yay. And so what, we still have a little time. And what, tell us something that you want young people to know about the music industry and about your walk. Tell us something important for them. Now we're on the group.
Okay, so I think that one thing that is underestimated is your connections, and your pushing and backing yourself and believing in yourself. No matter the biggest haters are going to come from your family and friends, or the ones who kind of like, okay, that sounds good, cool. They're not going to be the ones to actively follow and pursue all the time. So find your identity, find your branding, because you are a business now. The minute you try to sell something, you are your own business. So conduct yourself that way. Spend time finding out. I'm sorry, I was looking at the comment section. Find your way, find your name, your niche, your thing, and then reach out to people. Instagram's a wonderful tool. Get in people's DMs. If you don't know, ask. If you don't know, ask. Don't pretend to know everything, and ask for the help you need. But don't stop. Create your identity and go for it full force, and find your audience.
Sounds like a plan, Miss Tarantino. And like I said,
hope so.
thank you so much for joining us today. You were an awesome guest.
Thanks,
Top of the New Year guest.
Well, we're going to be doing some stuff
yes, you will be back. Friend of the show. And lastly, just tell the people, what are you looking for in an artist? Because I'm sure that we're going to have people trying to break down your door about trying to get managed by ELP and Tarantino 1440. So what kind of artists do you look for?
I look for a hard worker. I look for someone who believes in it, someone who's authentically themselves, who has drive, passion, and wherewithal to go out and get it and hustle for it no matter what. That listens, that to the advice that they're asking for, that has movement themselves already. This is a grind. You can't, management's more than development is when you don't have a lot of followers and you're helping them create their branding. But come with the package, have some movement, have an idea of where you want to go. And most of all, it's your music. Does your
Okay.
music speak to me? It's your music.
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen, right here on Millennium News 24. We have the illustrious, the beautiful Gina
Oh.
Tarantino here on our show, on the
Love
group.
you.
And I hope you got some good gems from today's show. And she will definitely be back because we're doing big things.
We are doing big things.
2026. So that is our show for today, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you Wednesday at 1 o'clock, where we're on the New American Perspective with AB and the G Check. I'll see you then.
All right. Mwah. Thank you.